Yeah.
See where this went? All right. So everybody knows someone who's been starting a podcast for years. They got the mic, the Canva cover art, the big huge plan, but no episodes. They just talk about this. Oh, they've got this editor or this producer or this or that. And that's like quite simply not me. I said to Jamie in September, come on, let's just do it. Let's just see what happens. Here we are in October. No overthinking, no big production, just two friends who absolutely believe in connection and hitting record. I'm Kelly Haick. I'm here with my friend, professor, author, and truth teller, Jamie Oresar.
Hey everyone, I'm Jamie Oresar, definitely a truth teller. I don't have an inauthentic bone in my body, almost to a fault. The old me would hate this because it's not planned. There's no script, there's no outline, but the new me loves it and I'm in. So yeah, let's dive in. Let's talk about connection.
So, I'd like to say, like, as much as this is, we're just kind of going off the cuff. I love the idea of having a space where people can come in and connect, whether that is sharing something about their business or their project or somebody in their community. And so often on podcasts or whatever, we have teachables and learnables, and we're trying to make ourselves better, or we're listening to absolute shit just to pass the time. And so what I really wanted was a space where people could say, like, oh, hey, me. I want to come on. I want to chat. I want to teach you something. And that's kind of where this was. So we don't know where this is going. Is this a co-hosted thing? I don't know. Is this just a me thing? Maybe. Is this a forever podcast or one episode? Guess we'll find out. But I guess all of this is connected through connection. And connection's my fuel. I'm the person that you will always catch saying, like, I know a guy, I got a girl, and I absolutely love it. It's not for me like about the credit. It's just more, I don't even know, Jamie. What do you think that is? Why do people love why do I love that?
I think it's something that we've lost. That's why we're craving it. It's connection to me, I think, and I think I said this, you and I realized how important connection was in our lives when we started having weekly like breakfast dates. We would sit and we would chat and we would just chat about life and parenting and work or anything that was bothering us. And I think we realized, having been friends for decades, we realized that that was adding something new to our lives, that consistency and that showing up for one another and that showing up for yourself in those conversations. So I think we've kind of lost that. Like we're all just tripping over ourselves, scattered about doing all of the things all of the time for all of the people that we don't realize or intentionally foster connection in our lives. We just wait for it to happen to us or by accident. And when you put intention behind it, then connection just becomes that much more powerful.
And so I guess I love watching people make those connections. It's a big part of, for me, Collab Culture. Is a networking group that we developed here in Niagara, myself, along with a few other business owners. And it was totally born out of impulse to create a space where people meet and the magic happens. And honestly, like, I can use Collab as that example. Um, I don't know if embarrassed is the right word, but like, I'm embarrassed how hard I like love these people. I love connecting them with other business owners. I love watching partnerships grow. This group of people that were like just these, I was creating this networking group. Like, that's not fun. That doesn't sound cool. It sounds like a business activity. But what this group has done has created such deep, genuine connection. I'm like, just jazzed about everything that goes on in there. And I would say all of the people within collab culture feel the same sort of way. Like, you feel like such a nerd for, like, I just value you guys so much. I never expected this. So yeah,
You
that's
see it with collab culture. I see it. I laughed so hard when you said like I'm embarrassed to admit how much I love these people. And I laugh so hard because I see it with the Apiary, right? I just recently joined
Yeah.
a co-working space, which is kind of not similar to Collab, but it's a bunch of people working on different things, but like collectively together in the same physical space. I mean, that's what a co-working space is, but this is different. It has vibes and I've met so many creative, inspirational, like badass women who are just like kicking ass in their life. And so it's I too, I'll like, and again, I'm not inauthentic, so I shower these people with all this like love and
Yeah.
deep appreciation and gratitude. And I'm embarrassed about it because I'm always like, oh my god, I get to see you today, I'm so excited. And
Right.
but that's it. It's I think that just having, and I do it with permission to just be too, right? Like working, so I'm writing a book right now. That's the whole backstory, but it's called Permission to Just Be. And I'm doing these workshops. And these workshops are about self-awareness and self-development and looking inward at who you are and trying to see and connect with yourself, really. But we
Mm.
come together and we do that collectively. So I also see it there. And that is at the Apiary as well. So I see it. You can work on independent things that are very individual in nature
Hmm.
while you are deeply connected to people or physically connected to people in shared spaces. And it makes the individual connection that much more stronger, I think.
So, also was a member at the Apiary, and I have the two examples, and like that magic, you feel it. Collab culture has been more than I ever thought it would be, with so many people wanting to start their own chapters. And now, like, I don't know what the heck has happened. This thing's launching nationally. I'm like, what is going on? But my biggest concern, is it a concern? I don't know. Uh, what is that magic? What is that magic that creates those spaces? Am I the magic in collab culture? Are the members of Collab Culture Niagara the magic? Is Kara the magic to Apiary? Can this be reproduced?
Mm.
What makes the magic?
I think it totally can be reproduced, and not to discount like the vibes that you and Kara bring to both of those things in both of those spaces. But I don't think connection is something that is curated. I think you create the connection, like you create the space for connection, and you do it very intentionally. And I mean, I can speak to that at the Apiary with Kara. She is so intentional about details and
Mhm.
has thought of everything. And so that's a part of it. But you create the space, you created collab culture, you created this idea, this like concept of business people coming together to support, amplify, work with one another. Kara's created this co-working space to really foster creativity and help people find their purpose. So it's like you create the space, but the connection happens authentically, like without effort, right? Because when people come into the space, they can then just open to connecting. It just happens. I don't think it's
Yeah.
something that is forced or curated, or
I
I
think
just
it's
think
a
it's
little bit
something
of
that
both.
is.
Because there is like, okay, so let's make up a place, and we've got Collab Culture Windsor, and the person who's decided to be the president of that chapter, where I'm not leading it, this other person is leading these virtual meetings and hosting these events, and they're super introverted. And
Mm,
so when new people come into the space, I believe, um, myself and the crew that we have, when new people come in, it feels good. But if the person you're coming into isn't 100% like like gathering kind of and starting that collaboration, that connection, I feel like that can be, or that has been in my experience, like some other networking events where you walk in and like I don't, I'm not extroverted, I'm not introverted, I'm just regular. I don't know what I am. But I
you're
can walk into a networking event and be like, I don't know where to stand, I don't know who to talk to, I don't know what to do. But if it's something I'm running, or, this crew, we're like, over here, blah, 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 and it sets the vibe. So that's more like I do have concerns about it. I hear you though. If it's set, it should happen organically.
Think about in my classroom, right? When I put and I do this often because I have classes of large sizes of hundreds sometimes. So I put students into smaller groups, or you're on a virtual call or something and you put people into breakout groups. You can't go into every single breakout group and ensure that they're feeling seen and comfortable and like they know
Yeah,
what to do. But
it's a
what
good point.
happens in those breakout groups? Why do we even do breakout groups when we do workshops or when we do classes? We do it to foster smaller group connection. So it happens no matter what. But I think you're right. It is both, because you can't just rent a hall or rent a space, invite people, and then naturally just let it be. What You don't do that in collab culture. You always have either that speed networking, or you've got
Mhm.
a guest speaker, or you've got food, or you've got drinks. You curate the space, you have an agenda, or you have an activity, or you have something, so that when you're not there, that can breed that kind of comfort that comes with, because we all, whether you're extroverted or introverted, and you walk into a new space, we all feel like, what do I do with my hands? What am I
Yeah,
wearing? How does it
right?
compare with everybody else? We are also narcissistically obsessed with how other people perceive us, that
Mhm.
we need to have something to do when we're in those spaces so we feel comfortable until we start to get the vibe. But once you get the vibe, that connection needs to have space to take on a life of its own, I think, without the curation of somebody guiding it or facilitating it?
Something you said there really hit for me. So when we started with Club, we had joined another networking group and it didn't match our vibe, we'll say. And so when we walked away from that and started Collab Niagara, um, it was just a tight group of 5, but we were so ride or die for each other, and the reason we became that way is because of small get-togethers like a breakout room where that connection was built, and then it has now fostered into the rest of Collab. So there you go. That's why you're the professor and I'm the one that just talks.
You're hilarious.
Um,
But I think too that yeah, and if people knew our dynamic, they would really shake their heads at that. But I think too, it's not just like in workspaces. I think connection could probably be a solution to anything you're struggling with, right? Like it could
yeah.
be I posted something a little while ago about it was a clip from one of my sessions, and we were talking about how when you struggle or you're emotional and you're crying, and all of my crying scenes have been either on the bathroom floor or the kitchen floor or the closet floor, so but and alone, right? And I never call people and say, I'm really having a hard time right now. Like I'm in the midst of it, right? Like I'll blow my nose and then I'll pull myself together and then I'll go about my day. But I think like if we can find in our private personal spaces too, connection can really help us with whatever it is we're struggling with, whether it's emotional, whether it's physical, whether it's with health and fitness, whether it's with your marriage or your parenting strategies.
Mhm.
Like I think that connection can also help us in personal spaces, workspaces for sure, as we are talking about in with the Apiary and Collab culture. But I think it's really powerful to intentionally foster that kind of like bringing in connected or allowing yourself to be connected to other people in your life. Really, like every time I'm angry or frustrated, I think about, we have these conversations often about the kids, right? Like, oh, I lost it and I had to apologize, and I had to say, hey, sorry guys, that wasn't about you, that was about this, and whatever. But every time I'm angry or frustrated, whether it's with Joe or the kids or a colleague, I really am just either overwhelmed and I need help, or I'm looking
Mhm.
for somebody to see me. Like I'm looking for somebody to see me more. So I'm really just craving connection, but it's coming out as anger, frustration, and irritability. But if
Tell
you
me,
dig
Jane,
down, hmm,
what does real connection feel like for you? Can you describe the feeling?
um, I think it just, for me, it's just about authenticity. Like if I
Yeah.
feel safe to be completely who I am in an interaction with somebody, and it can be somebody I barely know, and that will breed connection.
I can align with that so much. We've had 12 billion conversations, how I struggle in friendships that feel like they lack authenticity. I don't know how to show up as anything less than 100. And then when it's not 100, I'm like, what am I doing? And you've helped me balance with that a little bit because um, it it doesn't always have to live in the 100.
Hmm.
And
And you've
that's been a
helped
big one for me.
me totally. And you've helped me balance because I was not always showing up as 100% of who I was, right? Like I used to be pretty curated and cautious and safe in certain situations. I mean, most of the time it was probably 90-ish, but
Hmm.
recently I've realized like I can start I can stop hiding that other 10%. Like that other
Hmm.
10% is so genuinely a part of who I am that and it's these kinds of conversations that have allowed me to see that. And the conversations I've been having, in permission to just be or with colleagues about the work that I'm doing and at the Apiary if it's just a quick chat in the hallway. But these are the kinds of conversations that I think breed that sort of thing we were talking about earlier where we were embarrassed to say out loud how
Yeah.
much I love these people. And it's like I'm not gonna like package that 10% anymore. Like that 10% is my driving force now. I am just like that authenticity and that connection is really all I care about.
Do you think I know for me that authenticity flows into my parenting style as well. Like I have a couple of like hard topics that I go on the kids. Like one thing is called like owning it. You screwed
Mm,
up, own it. So I'm teaching them, accountability and we just own it. And I think like that connection, that authenticity, that being real. Own it. You
mhm,
screwed up. Who cares? And
mhm,
the other one I really like to like, weird is the new cool. Do you really want to fit in the box or be the person that you are? Like, who gives a shit? I have two super weird kids. I'm super weird, but I've always been okay with kind of being weird. I think that it's something for me. I'd like to think that I like to think that I come off pretty authentic, and I'd like to think that it's because I am, and I've never really tried to hide who I am. And I've had parts of me that I wish I would have hidden, and maybe chapters that I haven't been as nice as I could have, but I was always me. And I think by being that authentic person, it's been the reason I'm such a connector. It's the
mhm.
reason people tell me secrets and they're afterwards they're like, "How the fuck did she get all of that out of me? I didn't even mean to say that." But it's because I just come to the table honestly and it forces other people to.
Yeah. Yep,
I'm not
100%.
tooting my own horn.
No, but I mean, I can attest to that. I've been friends with you for decades, and I can attest to the fact that, like, yes, I leave every conversation with you feeling so much more confident in whatever it is that that we just talked about, whether it's work or home or life or whatever. It's
Yeah.
how many times have I texted you from the card like, whew, thanks for that. I needed that. Like, I just needed to show up authentically and I just needed you to see me authentically. And I just needed to hear your perspective on this, that, or that, because then I could see my perspective on it more clearly. Right.
Which draws it all back to the connection as well, right?
And when you
Um,
said one more thing though, before we flip, when you said own it, it killed me because I had a colleague say this to me the other day because I own all of the negative. Like I can be really hard on myself. I've got a really like loud inner critic who, nothing is ever good enough, and I can be known to be a perfectionist. But I had a colleague who said to me like, okay, enough. You own the bad or the negative so easily. You don't own the good. Like it's time to start fucking owning the good. And I was like, okay,
yeah.
touche. Yes. Okay. So owning it is important in terms of accountability when you make a mistake and you need to repair and you've got to do something about it. But there's also this other piece of owning the
The
pieces of
celebrations.
you, the 10% that I've, been hiding or whatever, that is fucking awesome.
Hmm.
Owning the good too, as easily as you own the negative or the bad, right?
Something that I find interesting about the whole owning it thing, when you are someone that is very quick to admit your faults or own it, the people who aren't don't in my experience, uh the people who aren't quick to own it think that you're self-righteous because they think that you're pointing out their errors, but what's really happened is you're so naturally just owning it, and they don't even hear you owning it because it's just a part of your everyday dialogue. Do you know where I'm going? Polish that up for me, Jane.
Polish it up for you. No, I think you said it precisely. It's like most of the things that I'm concerned about are what other people think. And most of the time, when I'm owning something, the other person is thinking something that is rooted within them and has nothing to do with what I'm saying or
Yeah.
doing. And so I think exactly what you just said is exactly what happens, not just with new people that you just meet, who you're getting to know, or new people you're starting to connect with, old friends too, right? It happens
Hmm.
with us sometimes when we're sitting around and having these kinds of conversations.
So let's go
I
into like
just
a little bit of that friendship truths part about like how friendships change, and how maybe for both of us totally scared us, and we could analyze it too hard and wonder what we did and internalize that. But I think as we've talked through a lot of this, we look at how the seasons of life shift, and with kids, careers, marriage, divorce, moving, blah blah blah. And sometimes you just drift, right? And it's not like drama or hurt feelings, it's just different lives. And so
Yeah.
where we used to look at it maybe as a loss or take it personally or what did I do? I think that through these conversations, you and I have really seen how it just happens. It's just natural. It's seasons of life.
Hmm. Hmm. And you disconnect from um, the narrative around it that means that you've done something wrong or you're not good enough, right? Like, because it's just about the shifts that are taking place naturally, either with other people or with you or with life. um but yeah, you can disconnect from what it means sometimes,
Hmm.
still feel connected to those people. For example, like I have friends that, I don't talk to for months, like 6, 8, sometimes even a year, and we'll get together and it'll be like no time has passed, right? I think everybody has those kinds of friendships where you don't always have to you don't always have to be in each other's lives to continue being connected.
Yeah. I think that we can say all this and we do the work and we go to therapy and we talk to each other and blah, blah, blah. And yes, we get it. But sometimes still it's like, well, what do you think we did? Right. So there's still those
Yeah.
moments with some
What
of
are we
those friendships where it's like, we know, but
But
like
is there really
some
something that happened?
right? So it's not like we're like these perfect, super like I've done the work and I know all the things.
No,
It's like
no,
the
no.
shit still hits, but it's recognizing you can feel that way, but in your head, it's not about you.
And you know why we can deal with that is because every Friday we get together and we have breakfast and we talk about those inner thoughts that say, I feel like it has something to do with me and I feel like I screwed up somewhere and I feel like I don't know, because I don't know what it is that changed. I'm uncertain about it. I'm so uncomfortable with it. Do you think like we spin out with each other and then we see it more clearly and realize like, no, it's probably not that, and we're overthinking
Yeah.
and we can just move on and go about our day. That's why. It's because of the connection that we have regularly about it. We share it authentically when it does hit, and then we process through it and move forward from it. And then that's why
Hmm.
it works. Yeah. And that's
So
not something that you get to. That's not something like you do the work, you're in therapy, you're doing all this stuff, now you are self-aware and now you
yeah.
have arrived at this place. Like it's not that. It's you have to intentionally share those things with someone at some time, or they will
Hmm.
run out inside of you and never go away.
So the connections that change everything. Like, it's not like some big dramatic moment where I'm like, oof, I'm super connected to this person. That's kind of a lie. Sometimes I can be like, oh my gosh, there's so much of us aligning. The world put us together. But usually it's like small nudges along the way of like different, even the one this morning, I was connected with a business coach that someone I met through Collab Culture was like, you two would hit it off. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And then I went in there and I was excited to have that connection. But then when I went in there, I aligned and we had so much more in common than even that the first person, Maya, introduced me to this business coach. And it's like, that's when the small nudge kind of did hit the dramatic lightning for me. Do you know what I mean? I don't know.
Totally. I think it's again, it's both and. It's not either or. It's not like just the small nudges, and it's not
Yeah.
either the small nudges or the like big elaborate like who deeply impactful connection. But it's both. It's both and. So it's both of those things and everything in between. It's the deep, intense connection that is like time disappears and you forget everything that's happening in your life and you are just like zoned right in on this conversation or this situation or whatever. Or and then there's the other kinds of connections that are, grocery store conversations. Like I can
Mm-hmm.
point back to a grocery store conversation I had with somebody I went to high school with that translated into me applying for a job at Niagara College and then now working there for 15 years, right, as a building my career. So it was like that was a very small nudge that came out of nowhere
Mm-hmm.
in the middle of a grocery store. But yeah, I could trace 1,001 of those small nudges along the way, but I could also point to every single deep, like time doesn't exist moment connections too. But and not just personally, but also professionally.
And as we're like doing this and talking about connection and all of these things in this just press record type uh, podcast, it's funny because there's also that element of connection that, like, I don't know, friends from not St. Catharines, not Niagara, they're like, how does everybody know like what is going on here? And it's one of those things where, you talk about the person in the grocery store, and then I went there and I know who that is, and I know her mom, and her mom worked as the guidance counselor at our high school, and it's just funny how all of those connections, so your story built back on a story for me too, and that's like just one of those funny parts of the St. Catharines Niagara 7 degrees or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, 6 degrees of separation. It's
Six
like and
degrees
everybody says that, when they're like, "Oh, it was," I can't even remember it, but Meg, who's part of the Collab Culture, she was I was doing some photography and videography and we had made a whole bunch of connections and it was the same thing. It was like, "No way, no way, no way, no way." See? Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
6 degrees of separation. And it happened at the Apiary with Kimsey when I was like, it turns out we both went to the same Buddhist meditation center. We both went and did yoga at the same place, like, and we had no idea. And it was like we had all these connections outside of the connection at the apiary. It's you know what, connection is a really powerful thing, and honestly, I think it can solve not just personal struggles, but like it could solve world problems. Like if we really dug into it.
Well, we see that as moms too, like when the
Mm-hmm.
kids aren't feeling those connections or when they are struggling for their place. But it's also those lessons that they need so
Mm-hmm.
that it's okay to go through the struggle. It's okay to be in the shit so that you know how to work through the shit as you get older, right? And as you grow. I'm
And
wondering, oh, sorry.
I feel like I was just going off of the mom thing. Like, I feel like when I am connected in multiple spaces with myself, with my crew, with my colleagues, then I am more connected to my kids as well
Mhm.
because these connections are filling my cup. And so I'm coming home with a full cup and then now I can pour from the full cup with my kids, right? Whereas most people, and like I'm one of them, come home from a busy day at work and you're burnt out and you're exhausted and you're empty and you've got nothing to give, and then that just breeds like frustration and irritability and does not help you connect with your family, right? But when you can when you can fill your cup with connection in all of the spaces, then you are showing up for yourself so you can show up better for
Mm-hmm.
others. And I think that's the most profound thing for me in terms of parenting. And I would 100% say that it's not what I do. It's not my achievements. It's not the things that I'm
No.
checking off the list all the day. It's the people that I'm talking to. It's the thoughts that I'm having about my own self. It's like, it reminds me of, there's a quote. I just read it and I took a picture of it. It said, and I hope I get this right. It said, every time I meet more of myself, I can know and love more of you. It's Young Pueblo. Diego Perez is the author. But every time I can meet more of myself and love, I can know and love more of you. So it's like, it's so inextricably tied with connection, I think.
Um, I love that. And also my little ADHD brain goes to like, I love this that we can be in here and you're quoting all of these amazing quotes. And then like you've got you and then like, but you need me to quote some Britney Spears, right? We got some different perspectives going on. James, tell me, like teaching, um, how did teaching and being a part of, students internationally and connection there, how did that shape you for like, equity, education, everything? Do you see the the connection and the piece there as well?
For sure. For
How would
sure.
you link
Yeah.
that in?
When you I mean, my career has been all over the place, right? Like from teaching in Australia, China, Mexico, teaching high school in Australia, China, Mexico, and then of course teaching high school here in Ontario, and then moving over to the college. And since I started at the college, I had like tons of fantastic opportunities to travel to Jamaica, Bahamas, Kenya, and do a lot of work in equity across continents, right? And it has been, it's so funny that you asked that question, because it has been, again, both and. It has been
Mm,
deeply connected, but it also has been like I've been very alone in some of those moments too. So I think about, and anyone who travels or works abroad will like travels for long times, long periods of times will feel this, like there's this loneliness that comes with leaving what is safe and comfortable and what you're used to, and so you desperately need connection in those moments. And so I've experienced that, but I also see that in students, particularly
mm-hmm.
international students who are in the classroom, and they are feeling lost, right? And they're feeling that culture shock, and they're feeling so alone, so disconnected from their families. But you see what happens in society. I mean, they all tend to like live in close proximity to people who also came from their home countries,
100%.
or people who also like this sport or something. So they
Mm-hmm.
find their own communities and they find their own connections. And we were just having this conversation in class the other day. The difference, this is going off a little bit on a tangent, and you might want to cut it out later when we edit, but the idea that when we have where am I going with this? We have it was homelessness versus houselessness. So, can you have a home without having a house? And so we got into this big conversation about what is a home. And it was like everybody was saying it's more of a feeling. It's more of a, you're connected to people. It's rooted in people and connection, and not rooted in a physical structure. And so, and in our spaces, we were talking about the power of language and how important it is to get it right. And so if we say somebody is homeless, it's not really accurately like grasping their lived reality. If they do have community and they do have a place where they feel safe to be themselves, and they find that in some other place, the houselessness versus homelessness conversation really like brought that up in the classroom.
It's really interesting.
Yeah.
So let's go. I think we should. I'm going to go first. So, what do we both wish people admitted? I wish people would admit, like, when they're scared or when they're failing or when shit isn't a 10, even though I like things to be a 10 out of 10. I think that like goes across the board from parents, business owners, friends. Everyone's always pretending they've got it together. Um, and I think that goes to the collaboration over competition and the connections that are made in there. When people are more honest, we can grow a lot quicker together than we can apart. And I wish people would just like dig into that a little bit more, because I think that it's a lot easier to get through. And I think
For sure.
vulnerability is like that shortcut to connection.
Yeah, that's that 10% I was talking about that I've largely hidden most of my life. That vulnerability piece, that because like I'm scared to show that, right? Like I'm scared to
Mm,
show where I'm messing up. I'm scared to show what I'm struggling with. I'm scared to show what scares me. Like it's I agree with you. I wish people would be more exposed with those things, but I also
hmm
recognize how hard that is, and I also recognize that people have to, for survival, sometimes keep that contained and keep that protected, right? But I also wish that people like fucking shared their wins more, you know?
Ooh.
Like I'm all for that piece for sure. And again, here's the both and. I think yes that, and I want people to share their wins. How many times, I'll give you a stupid example. How many times do you walk into a room and somebody's like, "Dude, I love your outfit." And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, it's like giant tiger, $10. Pfft, no big deal." Or like, "You did this and oh my, I had a student come to me the other day. I can't tell you, it was a former student from a different class. I can't tell you how impactful your class was for me. I never once raised my hand in school, and you created
hmm
a space where I was comfortable sharing." I think I told you this story. They brought me this gift, and
Yeah.
it was the sweetest gift. I still have it on my desk. And they were like pouring out all of this gratitude and appreciation. And I like, of course, it made me feel so good. And I turned around and I said, you know what? Thank you for all of that. But you did that. I didn't do that. I just created the space and then you opened yourself up to it. So you did that. And in the moment, that was the appropriate response. But then afterwards, I was like, I think you were the only person I told about it. I didn't tell anybody
hmm
else about it. I didn't say, "Hey guys, guess what? Like so and so." I didn't come home, tell Joe. I didn't like, I should have been bragging about that. I should have been like,
hmm
that was a deeply connected moment that was so raw and vulnerable and also so powerful and validating for me. And I was just like, meh, that's cool.
Do you think that like that's where a lot of the, stopping, admitting you're exhausted by the shoulds, getting in the permission to just be chapter, is that where that lies? Like your course, your program, what are we calling it? Little everything. Permission
Yeah,
to just
the
be has
workshop.
been
I
like
call it the workshop.
workshop. It's
Yeah.
been life changing for a lot of people. Like off offline, people have talked to me about it and how much it's made a difference in their lives by letting those shoulds go and living in the permission to just be yourself and live in that kind of 10%. So I don't know. What do you think there?
I think that's really hard to do. We've been shoulding all over ourselves, like should ing. I don't want people to think I'm saying shitting all over myself, but shoulding all over ourselves forever. And it's a hard habit to break. And I think it's really rooted in like inner dialogues, inner critics, like,
Mm-hmm.
rooted in trauma. It's rooted in really difficult life experiences. And I think it's really hard to just, take that off. I think it's impossible to take it off. But I think in the workshop, what we do with that is we acknowledge the should, like where is it coming from? We root it in like, how does society perpetuate this? And then when we can see it more clearly, we can actually just reframe it in a different way. So it
Mm-hmm.
never goes away. The should doesn't go away. Like I should drop everything for everyone all of the time. Like that's a personal should of mine. But and I don't want to drop that. I don't want that to go away. I want to keep doing that. That has fostered a lot of great connection for me. So but I just reframe it because I don't want to drop everything. If I reframe it as I want to drop everything for everyone all of the time, that's just not true. So now what is it? It's I really value showing up for other people and I want to keep doing that. And I can do that while I continue to show up for myself. I don't have to drop me to show up for other people. I can just contain me while I show up for other people, you know? So
good.
I think that's the power of the workshop. We really dig into all of those shoulds and then we reframe them and see ourselves more clearly to be able to recognize that in the moment when it happens. You know, when you're ready to be like, oh, I really should be doing this. I no, I really want to do this, but I should be over there. So I'm going to sacrifice this for that. And when you can see that in the moment, you can own it. We're back to owning it. We can own it and then we can do this and that instead of one or the other.
Jamie, your workshop is pretty amazing. For anybody, you know, that is listening or interested, where can they find you, follow you? How do they learn more about Permission to Just Be?
Today is actually the last day for the discounted price for the fall workshop, which starts end of October, early November. It's on Instagram at Permission to Just Be, and the website where you can find any information is also permissiontojustbe.com.
Amazing. And I'm Kelly Haick. You can find me at Kelly_Haick. That's our first episode. It's not polished, it's not perfect, but it's real. And that's kind of the point of this whole thing. We don't know where this will go, if this is going to be a 2-person thing, a 1-person thing. But that's the point. It's a Collab Connect is a space for parents, business owners, friends, community members, anybody who believes connection matters. If you've got a story, an event, something you want to share, DM either of us. We're booking guests because this is a table for everyone. Just like Collab Culture, you can sit with us. So thank you for being here from the very start. We can't wait to see where this goes. And have a great day.
Bye, everyone.